After flying into Calgary, we picked up our car and headed off for our first destination, Lake Louise. The Chateau Lake Louise has one of the world's greatest mountain views. Lake Louise sits in a hanging valley above the Bow Valley, one of several scooped out of the Bow Range by the huge glaciers that flowed down from the Great Divide in past ice ages. Surrounded by soaring mountain peaks, the majestic Victoria Glacier, and a glistening emerald lake, the iconic Fairmount Chateau Lake Louise is a year-round luxury mountain resort. Originally built as a base for outdoor enthusiasts over 100 years ago, Lake Louise is world famous for its turquoise lakes, the Victoria Glacier, soaring mountain backdrop, palatial hotel, and incredible hiking and skiing. Surrounded by a lifetime's worth of jaw-dropping sights and adventures, Lake Louise is a rare place that must be experienced to be believed. Among the countless accolades given to Lake Louise, the Mona Lisa of the mountains fits her best. This classic composition of ice, rock, forest, water, and clouds is a natural masterpiece that has a stunning impact on every visitor who reaches its shores. No painting or photograph can prepare you for the real place. Our accommodations for our stay were at the Deer Lodge, just minutes away from Lake Louise. The lodge is a testament to a bygone era and retains much of its original hand-hewn log structure and decor. Built in 1923 as a tea house, the lodge officially opened as a hotel in 1925. Deer Lodge has been completely renovated, restored, and winterized. It is beloved by international and local guests for its unique rustic mountain accommodations. As we headed out the next morning to explore the area, we spotted this huge bull elk just grazing along the side of the road. It was the first of many that we would encounter in the next 10 days. We continued to Emerald Lake, the largest lake located in Yoho National Park in the province of British Columbia. It's just 20-minute drive west of its famous neighbor, Lake Louise, but it is not as well known. The lake setting itself is quite secluded, but can easily be accessed from the Trans-Canada Highway. Scores of vehicles drive past every day with no idea of the nearby beauty. Emerald Lake only gets a fraction of the visitors that nearby Lake Louise receives. With a beautiful green hue, it truly stands up to its name. The color is most intense in early summer when there is a high amount of glacial silt flowing from the surrounding mountains. Due to the high elevation of the lake, it remains frozen from November to early June. We elected to take the 3.5-mile trail that circles the lake. Part of the path is paved and offers views of the lake and the mountains. It took about an hour and a half to do the entire loop. The area is home to a number of bird species, including eagles, osprey, and loons. Ground squirrels and marmots can often be spotted, and if you're really lucky, you might spot a moose or a bear. Unfortunately, none were seen. We made a short stop at the Natural Bridge, a unique rock which has been gradually carved out over time above the powerful Kicking Horse River to resemble a bridge. Sculptured by the erosion forces of rushing water over what had once been a waterfall, the Natural Bridge is a powerful reminder of how much influence water has in shaping the landscape. It is a magnificent work of nature and an impressive natural wonder. Still in awe of the beauty around us, we headed for Moraine Lake, only 10 miles from Lake Louise. While Lake Louise shares the glacial origin and rich color of Moraine Lake, the latter distinguishes itself with the 10 sharp peaks that tower over it. Moraine Lake is at an elevation of 6,300 feet, and the mountains rise to a height of over 11,000 feet. The lake is a turquoise blue jewel set against the serrated spine of the Great Divide and is part of Canada's most famous landscape. To travel the Icefields Parkway is to experience one of Canada's national treasures and most rewarding destinations. Stretching 144 miles through the heart of the Canadian Rocky Mountains, This world-class journey offers access to a vast wilderness of pristine mountain lakes, ancient glaciers, and broad, sweeping valleys. This special travel route winds its way through 2 national parks, boasting a unique and irreplaceable landscape, rich in history and natural beauty, second to none. One of Banff National Park's most beloved attractions, Peyto Lake, gets its famous turquoise hue from the ancient glaciers that melt glacial dust into it each summer. When the sun hits the lake, the blue rock powder radiates a crystal blue. Though Peyto Lake is too cold for swimming, crowds still flock year-round to behold its crystal clear cobalt waters, framed by the forested shores and the snow-capped Rocky Mountains. We continue north on the Icefields Parkway, also known as Highway 93. It is one of North America's most awe-inspiring journeys. Snow-capped mountains, waterfalls, and glaciers are a few of the wonders to be seen along the way. We passed miles and miles of breathtaking scenery. Each view surpassed the last. Off in the distance, we could see Bridal Veil Falls. It is said that it is a 1,200-foot drop, but only about 200 of it is visible from the road. We had reservations to take the snow coach tour up onto Athabasca Glacier. So far, the drive up the parkway had been gorgeous and the weather had been perfect. At our allotted time, we boarded the snow coaches and headed up to the glacier. The further we went, the worse the weather got. By the time we reached our destination, it was miserable. We departed the coaches long enough for one picture and hopped back on to warm up and stay dry. Visibility was almost zero, so there was no reason to continue the tour. That was a big disappointment. Once back off the glacier and 10 miles up the road, the weather was perfect again. Around every turn on the Icefields Parkway reveals the bounty of nature's splendor, from the ancient glaciers of the Columbia Icefields to the mind-blowing color of Peyto Lake. Thundering waterfalls and viewpoints extend for miles. Our next stop was at Sumwapta Falls, a torrent of plunging water not far off the Icefields Parkway. It is remembered more for its backdrop than the falls itself. We were able to appreciate it from a footbridge standing high above the gorge. The falls, only 60 feet tall, did make up for its height with its power as the Sumwapta River was squeezed into a tight gorge. The aspen trees were turning to their golden color. "15 miles further north, we stopped at the Athabasca Falls, located on high cliffs of the Athabasca River. They are slightly higher than the Sumwapta Falls, but more known for producing the extremely powerful water currents that pass through the narrow gorge. The fast-moving tides have created the narrow gorge, and many potholes characterize this stretch of the river." We arrived at our accommodations for the next 3 nights, Jasper Park Lodge. It was almost dark, but we were so excited to see an elk just meandering around. We came across one that was standing right next to the side of the road. I don't know who was more surprised, him or us. The next morning, bright and early, we headed out to explore the area. Mount Edith Cavell is one of the most loved hikes and sightseeing hotspots in Jasper National Park. Getting there was an adventure, but once there we were in awe of the alpine meadows, robust moraines, and views of Angel Glacier. The largest national park in the Canadian Rockies, Jasper is wild in every sense of the word. Its landscape covers an expansive region of rugged backcountry trails and mountainous terrain, side by side against fragile protected ecosystems, as well as the world-renowned Columbia icefield. It's also chock full of wildlife, home to some of North America's healthiest populations of grizzly bears, black bear, moose, bighorn sheep, and elk, along with thousands of species of plants and insects. The park comprises rough and tumble mountains, valleys, glaciers, forests, alpine meadows, and rivers along the eastern slopes of the Rockies in western Alberta. We took the path of the Glacier Trail, a short walk along an easy trail that took us up to a small lake at the foot of the Cavell Glacier. One side of the lake is the glacier's toe, and small icebergs are often seen floating around in it. Looming high above was the famous Hanging Angel Glacier, so called because of its resemblance to an angel with outspread wings. We then ventured for a ride on the Jasper Sky Tram. It's the longest and highest guided aerial tramway in Canada. The trip offers incredible views of 6 different mountain ranges, the town of Jasper, numerous lakes, and the Athabasca River. Surrounded by 1,000 acres of beautiful parkland scenery, Jasper Park Lodge offers numerous activities to choose from. There's plenty to do year-round, including walking, biking, boating, and tennis. For golf enthusiasts, the course is a must-play as one of the most scenic and highly rated golf courses in the world. Looking for relaxation? Then there's a complete health and beauty spa on site with a full menu of treatments. We were surprised to see elk roaming free all over the grounds of the lodge. As long as you stay out of their way, they won't bother you. Jasper protects what's left of the wildlife that once was commonplace in the West. While other areas have seen a dramatic decline in wildlife, strong populations of plants and animals preserve here. The park's elevation range, geology, geography, and climate serve as a safe habitat for a variety of species. The next morning we headed for Malign Lake, passing more incredible scenery along the way. We took the boat cruise, enabling us to enjoy the beauty of the surroundings. Malign Lake is the largest natural lake in the Canadian Rockies. Ringed by snow and ice-capped mountains, it is 14 miles long and 318 feet deep at its deepest point, at the south end of the lake. It averages 115 feet deep and sits at an elevation of 5,480 feet. It is famed for the color of its water, the surrounding peaks, and the 3 glaciers visible from the lake. It stretches past serene Spirit Island right to the meltwater channels of the Cornet Glacier. Open forest and lodgepole pines and spruce. Home of moose, caribou, Harlequin ducks, and many other types of wildlife. The true attraction of Spirit Island is the backdrop, a ring of impressive peaks and glaciers circling the south end of Malign Lake, and the deep turquoise-colored water not present at the north end of the lake. A short path forms a loop around from the docks to the viewing points overlooking Spirit Island. To preserve this area in its natural state, walking on to the island is not permitted. After the boat tour, we stopped along a roadside park and enjoyed a deli lunch that we prepared for. It was a good chance to relax and enjoy the beauty of our surroundings. We continued on down the road to Malign Canyon. Malign Canyon is the deepest canyon in Jasper National Park. Hikers of all abilities can explore this incredible natural landmark by crossing 6 bridges built across various points of the canyon. Parks Canada has developed a self-guided interpretive trail along the canyon with signs describing the geological history of the area. The trail provides the best views of Jasper's famous limestone gorge. Water gushes from springs along the way. Marvel at the deep canyon, the waterfalls, and the power of the churning, swirling river that created it. The second bridge is the highest point of the canyon, standing more than 165 feet above the water. Venturing further will take you to the third bridge, which is the best location to see a spectacular waterfall and makes for a perfect photo opportunity. The canyon is a result of the Malign River eating away at the limestone valley it cuts through on its way from picture-perfect Malign Lake to Medicine Lake lower down. Sometimes the water never gets there, adding to the mystery of the place. That evening, we decided to take a game drive around the area to see if we could spot any animals. We hit the jackpot. We spotted one bull elk grazing along the lake. We decided to park and watch. It was not long and another bull elk joined him. They spent several minutes sparring with each other. We were close enough to hear their antlers clanging against each other's. Several minutes later, a third bull elk joined them. It was quite a sight to see. Traveling back to our cabin, we came across this large bull elk grazing alongside the roadside. We stopped and watched the beauty of this magnificent animal. We had been warned about their behavior, so we were being very careful and remained at what we hoped was a safe distance. The rutting season typically lasts from late August until mid-October. During that time, male elk become extremely aggressive. On the way back to our cabin, Clyde asked me to drop him off at the lobby so he could check his email. When Joe, John, and I got to our cabin, we were surprised to find a female elk munching beside our path. We elected to go away from her and got to our room safely. Once in our room, Clyde happened to call, and I warned him about the elk. A few minutes later, he came in, bursting in the room, his eyes as wide as saucers. He did not see that the elk had bedded down right next to the path, and when he reached her, she stood up and scared him half to death. The look on his face was priceless. The breathtaking stretch of road between Jasper and Lake Louise serves up many of the most rewarding travel experiences in the Canadian Rockies. Unlike any other, this stretch of road, known as the Icefields Parkway, is dotted with more than 100 ancient glaciers, cascading waterfalls, dramatic rock spires, and emerald lakes set in sweeping valleys of thick pine and larch forests. For some of the trip is more important than the destination. That's why the Icefields Parkway is known as the most spectacular road in the world. Frequent roadside picnic areas will allow you to stop and pick up your jaw once in a while. The abundance of wildlife in Jasper National Park and Banff National Park is amazing. We took our time as we headed back south, stopped several times to take in the breathtaking views, capture stunning photos, and enjoy the stunning beauty amidst the splendor of the Canadian Rockies' pristine wilderness. As we headed back south, we passed the Columbian Icefield and the Athabasca Glacier. The day was bright and sunny. Visibility was great, unlike our northbound journey. The Athabasca Glacier is one of the 6 principal toes of the Columbia Icefield. It is 2.3 square miles and it is 980 feet thick. The glacier is currently receding at a rate of about 16 feet per year. Tangle Falls may be the most commonly photographed waterfall along the Icefields Parkway due to its incredibly easy access. Of course, we had to stop. We decided to take our lunch break at Lake Louise, as it was such a gorgeous day. We spent a little more time soaking in the scenery around Lake Louise and the Victoria Glacier in the distance. A great spot for some photo ops. I was very surprised at how much the glacier has receded from previous times I had seen it. Arriving into Banff, we discovered two Banffs. One Banff is a wild 2,500 square mile national park, and the other is a lively cosmopolitan town that hosts millions of visitors each year. Banff Town Centers boasts one of the most beautiful outdoor malls in the world, while the peaks of Mount Mundell and Cascade Mountain dominate the skyline. The Banff Springs Hotel looms over the town from its mountainside location, while all around elk, bighorn sheep, mountain goat, deer, moose, caribou, black bear, and grizzly bears browse in its parks. We made a stop at Bow Falls, situated just below the Banff Springs Hotel. Bow Falls is a wide river waterfall situated in the backside of the town of Banff. Bow Falls is one of the quintessential waterfalls in Banff National Park. The falls rumble about 30 feet over a low gradient pitch of channeled bedrock. The falls are pretty and, under the right conditions, exceptionally photogenic. We were able to see this waterfall along a well-established walkway that gives us views from near its base, above the falls, as well as the rapids and cascades further upstream. The Banff Springs Hotel is one of the largest and most renowned of the resort hotels established by the Canadian railway companies during the late 19th and early 20th century. Its striking natural setting, chateau-style design, and lavish interior decor appeal to the wealthy, seeking a wilderness experience in opulent surroundings. It is considered to be a colossal stone palace, rustic, elegant, and a bit medieval. In the morning, we decided to venture out to see what kind of animal life we could find. We drove out to Lake Minnewanka, a large glacial lake 3 miles from town. The lake is 13 miles long and 466 feet deep. We came across several bighorn sheep. Bighorn sheep live in social groups, but rams and ewes usually only meet to mate. Rams live in bachelor groups. Ewes live in herds with the younger lambs. Males leave their mother's groups around 2 to 4 years of age, while the females stay with their herd for life. They are all creatures of habit who follow familiar routes to traditional ranges, generation after generation. The herd was not concerned about the traffic, and they sure were not in any hurry to get out of the way. Our next adventure took us to Glacier National Park. The park encompasses approximately 1.4 million acres of wilderness and some of the most beautiful mountain scenery in the western United States. A combination of spectacular scenery, diverse flora and fauna, and a relative isolation from major population centers have combined to make Glacier National Park the center of one of the largest and most intact ecosystems in North America. Glacier National Park is open year-round, but due to its northern mountainous location, most people visit the park in the spring and summer. Park services open in late May and continue through September. During other months, limited service is available inside the park, and all services are available outside the park in local communities. You can visit without the crowds in the off-season months. The peak season for visitors is June through September. We arrived at our accommodations for the night, the Lake McDonald Lodge on the shores of Lake McDonald. We were a little bit disappointed at our cabins. They were rather old and badly in need of sprucing up. Glacier National Park was established to protect the area's spectacular scenic values, as characterized by the geologic features of the Rocky Mountains, the valleys, and the native plant and animal life. The general park area was once the homeland to the Blackfoot and the Kittanning Indian tribes, and many sites in the park are sacred sites. There are over 50 glaciers in the park from which it gets its name. There are also over 200 lakes or streams in Glacier. There are over 730 miles of trails for hikers to enjoy. Lake McDonald is Glacier National Park's biggest lake, 10 miles long and 472 feet deep. This long fjord-like lake is surrounded by mountains on the north, south, and east, with the Continental Divide 14 miles away to the west. The mountains provide a spectacular backdrop for the lake. Around the turn of the century, people started to look at the land differently. Rather than just seeing the minerals they could mine or the land they could settle on, they started to recognize the value of this spectacular scenic beauty. In the late 1890s, visitors arriving in Belton, now called West Glacier, could get off the train, take a stagecoach ride a few miles to Lake McDonald, then board a boat for an 8-mile trip to the Snyder Hotel. No roads existed in the mountains, but the lakes allowed boat travel into the wilderness. The Many Glacier Hotel is located along the shores of the Swift Current Lake inside the park. The Great Northern Railroad built this historic hotel in 1915 to accommodate the many tourists passing through Glacier. The famous red buses serve as an ideal way to see and learn about Glacier National Park. In fact, the vintage 1930 buses are part of the human history and heritage of the park. As much as the park scenery is vertically oriented, the rollback tops are perfect for providing full views of the stunning mountains and the area's signature big sky. The guides are seasoned park veterans who are here because they love the park and enjoy sharing it with the visitors. Waterton Lakes National Park is situated in the southwestern corner of Alberta on the Canada-US border. In 1932, this park was united with Montana's Glacier National Park to create the world's first international peace park. In 1995, the two areas were declared World Heritage Site based on the exceptionally rich plant and mammal diversity and on the outstanding glacial and alpine scenery. Perched high above the town of Waterton sits the iconic Prince of Wales Hotel. It is a proud hilltop guardian of Waterton Lake and the small mountain community of Waterton. We took a drive up to look around. The views were spectacular, but I was highly disappointed in the grounds of the hotel. If the heart of Waterton Lakes National Park is its rugged natural beauty, then Waterton Village is its pulse. This tiny, vibrant town site is an epicenter of activity, full of fun possibilities, great accommodations, necessary conveniences, and dining experiences. The best part, Waterton is decidedly low-key, even the deer are friendly. And despite the park's popularity, you'll never have to fight crowds while wandering the streets. Waterton has managed to maintain its authenticity and its exclusivity. This is truly natural mountain municipality, the very kind of place you envision when conjuring up ideas of an unspoiled mountain town. It's rustic, it's friendly, and it offers everything a visitor may want or need, whether staying for a few hours or a few days. We decided it was time to go on a bear hunt, so off we went. It was not long until we spotted a black bear along the riverbank. Black bears are more common in Waterton than grizzly bears. Despite their name, they come in a wide variety of colors. Black bears are occasionally seen on open slopes, in forested areas, along roadsides, and in campgrounds. They lack the hump on their shoulders and have a straight facial profile. They have short, curved claws and are agile tree climbers. Their hearing and eyesight are good, but their sense of smell is acute, and as a result, this is the sense that they rely on most often. As we were heading back, we spotted 3 grizzlies. They were quite a ways away off in the distance, but it was still a thrill to be able to observe them in the wild. Grizzlies have a large muscular hump on their shoulders, a concave face in profile, and a broad and dish-like face from the front. Their front claws are long, averaging 6 inches. They are mainly used for digging. The grizzly bear comes in a wide variety of colors from jet black to almost white. Grizzlies are always looking for something to eat. While an average male human eats about 2,500 calories a day, an average grizzly bear eats 30,000 calories a day. That's equal to about 40 hamburgers and 40 sundaes daily. Typically, a grizzly bear's diet is roots, herbs, berries, and insects. Less than 10% of their diet is meat. After several minutes, they wandered further away, so we continued back to Waterton and our hotel. Once we returned to our hotel, we were surprised at what was waiting for us just outside our sliding glass door. Clyde watched them from our room while I went out to get some photos. They did not seem to mind at all. They just kept munching away. A substantial deer population lives in the community of Waterton year-round because it provides a relatively safe haven from predators and an attractive source of food. These deer have lost their natural wariness of humans. Although the deer look cute and harmless, they can be aggressive, especially to people and dogs. I turned and looked and again was surprised to see about 12 sheep coming through the parking lot across the street. They crossed the street and walked right through the portico of our hotel. Waiting to greet them at the end of the driveway were 2 deer. The long-term presence of deer in Waterton community has created an artificial situation which is affecting the safety of the park's visitors and community members. After dinner that evening, we took one last drive to see if we could find any more bear. Sure enough, right along the roadway was a mother and 2 of her cubs. We enjoyed viewing them from our car as we were much too close to get out for better pictures. Leaving our hotel the next morning, we caught one last glimpse of the Prince of Wales Hotel. We made one last stop at the Cameron Waterfalls. The falls are located right in the town site of Waterton. They are the site of the oldest rock in the entire Canadian Rocky Mountain Range. It has been carbon dated at 1.5 billion years old. As we headed back to Calgary for our flight home, we passed more spectacular sights along the way. For 10 days, we traveled amongst the most spectacular scenery that this world has to offer. The Canadian Rockies in Alberta and the Rocky Mountains of Montana offer jagged ice-capped peaks, alpine lakes, diverse wildlife, and beautiful waterfalls. Moose, bighorn sheep, elk, grizzly, and black bear, along with other creatures, big and small, roam free. We were heading home with lasting memories of 10 wonderful days amongst the beauty of nature, enjoying great weather and the company of great old friends.